NPP for mambo fowi. Omo toilet to anka me wo metwi meto. We mo. Hwia kai. Ni se omo be power. Oh. Iti na say we kura power ni mu ye. Ni say mo be power. Jomama woni size of Africa wo. Woni size of Africa. Okwatum no say bomb no mo so sidi. But then na come akuma say just na some catch na some grassroots no mame. Tna opposition 8 years. Akuma de emrate na emaba wa na ye den ache.
Mugabe masse eni etie no. Mugabe eni abrɛ se omo munya appointment no mo hwɛ NDC for soldiers no mo brɛ. Omo brɛ 8 good years. Opposition enya easy o. Eti mo ba bem na wo sam hwɛ omo no mo so wani gye omo na to aba na ma mo na ye dirty works no. Enti mo ahwɛ omo ma so be hye omo ne bo ama yere ne ma ne omo mo free mu no. Oh, that no man bo me yi ase ina nsu ato ase yi. Oh, yes mu. Mani we de no kure ne amabo pa. Owu ya ye ko na yi kura da aka ne nso ahwe. Nsu akoto ase yi no kura. But Mugabe say Mahama Africa ha oni size. Oni size. Yes. When that election Ivan Chi anso betrase. O se the NPP fo be hu ani he. Omutimi NDC fo beje omsiti nyina ombegini nyina eti pandan so yesi bisa kobo amama nipa bakwe NDC ni biewu chale mobo ensa mo iti.
This is Boadu TV, truth and integrity.
Important say ye guswa ye cancer mean we need to also set the record straight because Mugabe the whole idea ye some first one say nipa better nema say na say we make subsequent political decision choices bia na you will be informed based on accurate information nema asi like odu ba bi na say nipa bi share adwin so be share ato nsema gun from just to deceive people. I'm not sure say politics, you know, that is where we are. Politics there yeah, 1992 by Ghana for any BA. They want to do factual politics in that for. There is this thing I know now soldier need be frame you're very much worried about what could never be social media. They say Ghana soldier for no call UN no. Or more say aban UN Jessica Kessia Momo, but aban for Sasika Nina, do no fakitu with their momo. See, some of this information are very sensitive, and this is a war kind of one you may end up inciting the soldiers against authority or the state, and then you now also threaten the infrastructure of democracy now you're seeking to build a handle. So such misinformation, they say you're shutting it down. Some people among for who say you and Jessica Buma so that for Moko UN mission and Abanya fight. Exactly. And some of these things and sorry sir be sorry or say musika mafadi it doesn't work like that. Say that here say amonoka say you and operations in as for you and Nankasa or challenge America now are the biggest financier of UN withdrawn exactly yes US na finance afibia 1 billion your friends $1 and the conclusion Donald Trump by or say American first policy and introduce you. And for that particular reason, or withdraw on the Sikana Kakra. So instead of 1 billion last year, he gave about $680 million instead of the usual way. So you and Nankasa on the challenge, I drop it. And it is over here, almost standing, we are from Moba. You know, it's around 52 to 50,000 soldiers. Or more reduced by 25%, or more 14,000 Kofi. And it's a one I'm going to say, I'm more call when you do Bafia, and Yagana by the Bafia. And you and because of budget constraints, you know, what cut it down some of the soldiers, Kofi. What I say, no more coffee. Anti, so we are no free man. You know, the Trump were raising up. Exactly, because his back and forth on the geopolitical arena, and why was be a winning the back and forth with the UN. Of which American Kwana, that's why the Sikadia Momo and other financiers like China, Japan, France, or Musikana Modebad Ekakrebi. And the US is virtually financing everything. And you know, Ghana Soja for Muko UN, say that Ghana or that long standing your friends say we are the Asuda for the whole world. It will interest you to know say Ghana are the 10th country had more personnel echo for UN. Yes, and that has been there. But this is what UN does. They every day beyond Ghana for Asuda for no, they pay them $46 a day. Ya only soldier ni na ko UN operational. Ya ma $46 a day. Side your market so $46 no. Never say 30 days. All the time say ubenya averagely $1,300 to $1,400. That is what UN pays to Ghana soldiers. Now Ghana buy say 46 you know. I am paying every soldier per day $35. So 46, you know, Ghana buying tia, so almost it's like almost close to 80% of the money.
So we can travel arrange.
Yes. And you know, 1 year with $11 actually. Say $11, you know, I buy the average $700. If you ticket now, I'm wakwaba. Answer about your operation. You know, come baby control for 2 weeks. And then what did the near money? I buy it here. So you know, Ghana buy will have to find extra cash to support. So it's totally your friends and none of craze out of so boka ko jina akokasa from I incite to say that for against your friends and the state because yes it's very dangerous because you see some of these things your security is very very important and some of the young people in our you cannot turn a dreamer and I never be a coup no mean you don't need a reason to do a coup because a child was here so I think that is very very important say you better sensible that trauma you and going forward maybe a $46 no credible need to be because Donald Trump no you the secret you and in Tom Banch on Tom board there yes and you and so Tom Banch on Tom board there what I say Mugabe your friend say you and nigga on Tom board there on Tom Banch when you so da kwakutia sasika na member state de ba no e no de ni nyuma enti when your budget control us ada me cut it down nipa na bi nko na ebi ma you so bi kwa
to mo control kan so mo nim so mo so beja
so mo de and again I think that there is also another important thing I have to clear because na say who adebi anam social media brand say on the we hope na say John Mahama tam 10 billion e dey akwakohye your friend say e sobe up the city na sa sika no nke betimi e dey aye yes, as a 24-hour economy. Now, this modern day, a journalist will sit on radio and advertise such sheer ignorance. It's very embarrassing. And no one tells even for a colleague. Na bisado say ade we menti asese de sitie Mugabe yakasa aban de sika eba be shovel up dollar na nasefo a enye say aban akota we bisika na sika de be sheme ya to obi na ayira it doesn't happen like that and that is a long standing your friends say monetary intervention we uko America there is something called standard swapping line with other countries who say US no try the dollar but on to no he doesn't need any dollar reserve na but country outside US no hold the biggest your friends say reserve China that is about $3.4 trillion and this is what they does some person musically stable then because of they have that direct line with America no and we release sika dollar at the moment not with our system just to take care of the stress it is a long standing practice course of bagana here they say aban edisika ba aba be shame ama dollar na broswa the challenge is say one tree aba ben reserves that is a challenge but IMF when I know no your typical instructions at least let me acquire import cover 3 months there so what now say I know say Ghana ISCD that import cover and it means that there is enough reserve because of gold board and other monies are coming so government has that particular money in excess and sikano ya nese ya kwa koche government and the sikano ba so that commercial banks will have access to dollar the Ghana government will take back the CD. And Abasana, you also mops the SSCD in the system. I take care of inflation. And I will say inflation is 6.3%. And I don't want to see a man got TV, so radio, so advertising ignorance. Now, yes, because as you can come here, it's just government exchanging the dollar for CD. And the massa will not stable. So you can say, I bind the Sikabe Shema. And yes, a Sikana and I say, you get the meeting the yard for Sikana Yanko, the Yankasa Sika. But just say government want to make dollar available to commercial banks obi be there any trade in as for no ma available when it happens so because the only time I'm a dollar when people want the dollar and they are not getting it and then the man will never but when it is in the system the banks have access to some of these monies I don't think that is a problem and it's a challenge
initial comment kakra na fe ne yanko to the main issues no you better AU chairmanship who is ECOWAS unanimously or more endorse His Excellency John Dramani Mahama say 2027 or no jina omo anemo asani eba no so no over the weekend you may be in the course don't be maybe I will do initial
maybe Mrs. Senna can say about patriotism and they need to also show recognition because honestly I'm saying konfoni bi ayejuma now you also thinking say ejuma my internet say abai ni timi mo mani come I'm sure in relationship and now we need Dr. Samuel Sapon
fantastic
now in the
region
you understand very formidable now NDC why Akono Ashanti region is because of
Alaji Sani Soko.
Alaji Sani Senior Soko, over the weekend. I mean, some of the information I you begin to wonder, say, party, is it really on course to say, or to me, I sustain any gains now? Because if you want to sustain your gains, the grassroots, any team supporters now, or and the more you look at them well, and then the Bema when the motivation and the support for another election
10 days to Christmas
you understand 10 days to Christmas and it's our corner now and it's very important say party ni betumi am na ni akọ ni base ni so na enko say after an election you mentioned go board okowa me na mate bad me nyangu so kwa the line and queue over amount for copper man is doing very at times you begin to wonder say na why should it be so. And that's the more reason why this 24-hour economy, some of us you feel say it's a bare reality because a job creation bar and no bet say sa emebulu na omo atu atisa na omo pitene so obi abenya baby to feed and they are some of the unemployed groups I shall say our person agitations near dinner is because they feel say or Martin Fiache. And that 24-hour economy should be a major focal point for this government because I buy it me easy and no never buano I'm office our pressure now eba appointees so eba or mine so with unemployment in a swati. It is our call me there as a sujina swati or the year end.
Security concerns a
major security threat. A major security threat because where Sri Lanka do you see Sri Lanka it was just unemployment. Youth felt say or maximum and at times do you look at the lavish lifestyle of some of the politicians and no so a shank for so it is not a politician now your appointment try to still keep your low and only an amount for no game boy when you scan a roof maybe up as a flaunt scanning my mouth for a baton fantastic no an appointee daily livelihood or lifestyle meaning an amount for share to see say they can learn something from it no about buying so but why appointee now you also want to flaunt your luxury on people and none of my buying no bad time more fantastic and to the circle is very important then again the issue are now raised about Lumba there also a bit into the creative arts and earlier on I was saying Kabani Crown adopt Lumba a year as a state funeral so Abani a state funeral new year. Now, if your family now can litigate the properties near, be fair enough. Because
for assistance.
Because Albania state funeral, donations be a baby. Albania will split it evenly among the families. It be a first wife, second wife, and not even the children. Hence, so properties be now litigate our court. I know your mom lie, but the only man here, honestly, I take away the shine. Any munyama Lumba benya because only a Ghana's Michael Jackson Upo and it's also a year from day one or 2 year any whole confusion about the amount for year the goon who fee the Busiano so any nana it has honestly taken away the shine from the the ceremony and think a teacher near Nintinias and Komoko now omutumi yeshene ni munyam we're missing out of the ceremony and I'm believing so we no so be a better how going forward no na you beja ye because wow can say you need that nipa beto and as a nipa to so ana ya sheda ye bibi asif so ene ye nyesua hunu bi de asie de adisua kese de mayen week 1 week we are free home. Even look at the fallen heroes, the 8 heroes here and you know how sorrowful the nation got. Arahu atu o man ni adimina no. Ask yourself, say, after some few months after our burial, you see bibi from as a nation. Even when it comes to your safety, you know, methods and safety approach, you see bibi from. You see nkoto wi share say to say jan ebeto sanya mani minano. What have we learned out of this? Yes, another tragedy near the Anisosa Bay, another talk shop. Until this the timer. The moment an incident basically measures in place. We put stringent measures in place. Lessons has to be laid out. But just a ceremony. Then it becomes, a fashion for us. You feel so anytime, any day, and I'm believing, sir, going forward, and finally, I would like to drop on JM and Abasubono Koji Yoruba Hinen Honu. Also, politicians say your mom honest academic honest and academic titles are at times they are not for ensure and recognizes her. But when the honor is coming from a traditional authority, a man for sumu in high esteem. And one of such honest any day JM Koji Yoruba Hinen Honu. Now Onene can be about John Mahama and the attributes said you see Lucifer even in opposition and also in power. And for us in Ghana here, we see a better testimony of our leaders are abundance for kafa because at times you might not see the clearer picture. You feel so good, but at times when you go outside and you hear the abundance for the kafa and then share how people perceive and see us in our ways. And on any can be about time a JMO position. Now even a person obeying any assassin, any even obeying power, any adinano. And for me, that's where we have to look at. Now you are Moko Ecowas. They've also endorsed him again. Say Onuna Ecowas president, access to him. Of course, now one appointee, very sad. And I'm thinking, sir, we have to look at external factors. A comment Ghana. Nebo minor basso, especially leadership. Say you share no from that angle. Yeah, if you know, a beka yakuma, I'm afino, ye be any many because say yeah, who need na bontin so for who year. A bontin so for babe fakwa. Yeah, if you need a bedampine. Would you say yeah, betty Messia and was for beko yeah, Mokwa Kusin Kunya. Now a mama would obey doing saying, and like I said, John Mahama, and a person was now no, okay, ECOWAS sub-region now. Almost half of the member states, are being ruled by military rulers. Yeah. In Tibet, a non-democratic. Half, Mali, you understand, Niger, Guinea and others. So say the back has now fallen on country and the democratic credentials, top notch. Yeah. And Ghana since 1992, the democracy when you tainted. You understand? Any military intervention, upheaval, or takeover. And they look at those credentials. Fantastic. One government handing over to another government, a smooth transition of power. Yeah. Since 1992, irrespective of the noise, and all that. Even say and Tokwabeba, casualties are very minimal. Yeah. Unlike other countries. Even Senegal for a transition from one democratically elected government to another, they lost over 100 lives. Cote d'Ivoire recently, they lost over 200 lives. Until they look at all those things, and as it's rotational. Until ocean from the rotational point now, Ghana it deserves to be the chair. Okay. And I face JM in high authority. Say no stand out among the peers. Yes. We have somebody like Nigeria, Tinubu, for instance, age has caught up with him. Yeah. The energy, to even steer a populous country like Nigeria, it's missing. But all of it is a JM and the drive, the energy, the zeal, the charisma, everything about him, is something that Africa needs now. And that's what Africa is now lacking in terms of our leadership. And if you have a leader, or you're that firm and stronger, the thing can say such a person, no, he's learned a lot whilst at backstage.
Yeah.
Into us, just like me. For the past 6 months, I've been off air.
Yes.
Steady. Into me, back on air, no. I'm coming with some renewed energy.
Fantastic.
And some sense of, aggression here. I'm hungry for power.
What else? Yeah.
You understand the hand? Such a character is His Excellency the President. And I'm not surprised that on 2027 on chair AU and from ECOWAS to AU large.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping and praying say JM ECO AU obet me spearhead Africa. Your unity ni ye de na Gaddafi pe ya amem de na Kwame Nkrumah pe amem de na Haile Selassie pe amem Patrice Lumumba pe amem Mandela pe amem Mugabe mu pe na amem. This is the new Africa, a reset of Africa, because honestly, say if we have leaders stand on their grounds, how much Africa is worth in terms of resources. So if you are to match Europe or any of the blocks, whether Asia, whether Europe, or whether America, or even the Arab world, you mean your worth. We will stand on our grounds. The African our continental unity.
Yeah.
So if you're able to unite in terms of our resources, we break boundaries and barriers. Now, we are able to trade fully amongst ourselves. Now, it will multiply against her. We can stand on our grounds. This is Africa here, technology.
Fantastic.
When you're able to advance in terms of technology, yes, you're able to stand toe to toe with the Western world. And only a challenge now. Where are we pushing our resources to? We are mining, we are extracting a lot of resources from the soil and from the sea. But they develop your continent. So we have new leaders almost try to stand on their grounds, like this Burkina guy, Traore, even though he's a military leader, all the kind of transformation, energy, or the bahona. Among for teacher the man, same as John Mahama of Ghana. And we are just open and praying, say, going to the African Union, it's a bigger stage. Now, on Concord, Ghana, and in first, on Africa, and in Nafi, you showcase what the world, Africa has to offer the world.
John, yes, I mean, recently, a year in your course, United Nations, statement or make you honor. And now, a year leaders or more equals Minano, or my sorry, say, Papa Win was a man, a corner, or AU chair.
Yeah, and no could be part because I'll say, words carry a lot.
Yeah.
And the more we expose a lot of positive things, words, people will also want to give you that power. Yes, yes, action speaks louder than words.
Exactly.
That's one thing. But your words are now going ahead of your actions. So if you are giving us the words, give us your actions. And I'm hoping and praying, say, United Nations is a platform, and mind you, most presidents have speech writers.
Yes.
You can be the best speech reader, but you'll be a backyard enye. We are looking at the words and somehow will they put Africa there? Will they stand on your grounds? Now, Fini, back home, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Recently, you know this diplomatic row with Israel over diplomats any foreign affairs minister. You could see, say, we are standing on our ground, say, as a sovereign state, or maybe to me NTTI. So no matter how big you are. And these are some of the things. That was a powerful speech of United Nations. And for John Mahama, somebody who is a communicator and a media person there, when it comes to Eritrea, you can't falter him.
Okay.
He's always top notch. On him the can say on him how to, break the ice.
The game.
He understands the game.
Issues.
You understand Anna Wasa Kobida. He's a diplomat. He knows his acts. And you don't expect him to falter at such a bigger stage. I'm happy say he delivered such a powerful statement. I mean, I'm a Ghana as a watch for the world. Says so he'll be a person who say, so that's the president of Ghana. Where is Ghana on the map? Which part of Africa? Yenko Ghana to do business, to go see Ghana. Share opportunities available.
Gateway to Africa.
Gateway to Africa. Yeah, the reset agenda is still on, and nobody can take that away. And I'm happy say reset the amount for her pan say a bit to corruption as NDC by Omukai. Now, say we are consolidating our gains for the future. And for me, that's what we have to do.
In office, how would you assess his performance so far, achievement, in terms of achievements?
Honestly, I'll score him 75%.
Out of 100?
Out of 100. If I score you 75%, let us what perform. Because any be a catching. But Intina, former President Kufuor Khan, a time back sinker, you review our constitution, you even the political term. So even if we are going to make it one term, which is 7 years, you have enough time to develop the country.
Fantastic.
Honestly, so if you have a 7-year mandate, it be our first year, no, what by power, what the best appointments, what the best sort of amount for near day, I feel we'll go into the books after transition.
Second year, I'll be soon now.
Second year, I'll be soon now, so because I know so 2026 is going to be action year.
Fantastic.
Projects are, ya cut soda, buying a person, you know, 2026. You know, that express road, fantastic project. No, I said, but now my dear, no, me in the Kumasi, me a programmer, NPP for a tata, me crying for roads consistently for 8 months. Now I spread out reporters to all the deplorable roads.
Fantastic.
And they were giving us feedback on my morning show.
They're done.
Crying for roads. It's a record in the region. That time NPP was in power. Mayors our project, no, almost the NDC for a scan and tata buy or so. And you say, oh, Kumasi, I another perception is you can't speak against the ruling party, which is NPP.
Yes.
But I stood my ground to say, some more buying the was there. Region, we develop region, my region in Yakono.
Why, so?
Oh, and you know, say, JM, it's me, Abosa Express Road in the so. Now, a non crown at the who, to NPP for also say, if that project lives to see timer, a bit me am unpopular there. Who am I? Mugabe?
Fantastic.
Who am I? The government just needs to shine its face.
Fantastic.
On all those infrastructure, no.
Okay.
It's me a pet. We both are feeling a region. Now it's more of a swing. It's becoming, you know, a divided region now.
Very well.
NPP for Jinafa, NDC for Jinafa. It's like going down for a 50-50 fight.
Okay.
Until they have to know what's ahead. Now I'm going to consolidate all those gains. Send a bear, a buying them, a to me, a pager, a region, and a stronghold. Now, so I'm to me as our project, you know. Almost me at the 24-hour economy, no. Almost me employ
women banking.
No, they say no. I mean, scan you try to hold that the entire day, so. But maybe focal point power now, no. It's with the unemployed youth now. Go fear.
Oh
yeah, say JM. My interview me twice.
Okay.
My interview JM twice. That's what time by election, no.
Okay.
That's a number of Fox FM.
Okay.
Or no by only I'm
2008
move time by election or no ambassador Hineje Kunni am waponko.
Okay.
Betina menin on one side. Sa program so na mama party be so ye no. Omo be super massive watchow. So omo ni omo ndini ye, omo nto aba mo omo any ade no mama party was on that show. Kwesi was on it and afi former foreign affairs minister Omo Akwesi Oseji.
Okay.
3 here, 3 there.
Yeah,
and you know, and I'm a back cry FM, so I hosted him. That was in 2020.
Okay.
You know, into no, many one-on-one with him paying. Now I know the persona, meaning say Orobia or Brennan Wasina or say Obe. And now, the information you hear from some of the NDC appointees, they say GMD now he's a chain person, Charlie Papano, O Kasano Watkins and Enia Bray, they all see Yen and Yamano. And Nadia will be a bit near of and then I asked them, would you do? I'm saying, Charlie, see a corner and you could see say he's a chain person. Now let me focus no and you know say obey leave a legacy. And I'm like, wow, that's how leaders are born.
Very well.
You know, so to yes, now his name is going to, you know, be in our annals forever. Yeah, it's a legacy for him.
Fantastic.
We are all praying and hoping say things will change for the better. Not down to me.
Very well, thanks so much, my very good brother, Kwabra Junior, the Dawn. Live on TVS was at Amazon Power 97.9 FM. You know, a year Avanche Innocent, and so at Nasama Corner, so on a fee, young Fadi Akanian answer. So, Avan, over to you.
Yeah, Mugabe, I think that on ECOWAS, Nina Ahenji on current development in West Africa and Africa at large. And I think Obia are very much concerned about Africa's development. To be a tunnel here, the state of play, you'll be very much concerned because Obada sorry and Yasiku Asiwagini. Adiachi coup asiwo Burkina Faso, coup asiwo Togo. When these news spring up, I communicated one thing. A choice the fate Africans our democratic institutions in Nihobian because over around that a man for who democracy is just young to abandon the academy my way, and I think over the years I have use political power to abuse this democratic your friends system no as for normal I can be and a man for a lose trust and confidence and actually Ghana I bet him the example and Ghana for na sebi you need that mature in terms of democracy and near my mom for you coup around us in Ghana you came under the previous administration the government became so belligerent intransigent as Kenyans assumption or the castle win or by we are day and one or by the government was not ready to listen to anybody and to say near my way the mom for lose faith in democracy and so around that a lot of some of these things are happening because of Sanyama way, and it is very important. We must begin to look at these things over the years. Now, yen turn the narrative. Sebaya once again, the African will get that particular hope. And that last we say, I told the idea. I can rely on these institutions, these structures. I will be to me fire because everybody will become a law unto himself, and the pandemonium and chaos will continue just like we've been seeing in Africa. And again, I keep telling people, says I will hear Africa, open continent here, our enough potential. Human resources, we are the most valuable continent on the planet. When it comes to natural resources, we are the most valuable. And all two are now here on mind to say Nigeria. That be a cancer. The whole world open my and the fertility rate higher it means alcohol young and crank to an and cry about on my 2 pound Niger averagely about 6 to 5 and it's a heavy resources because everywhere in the world you need human resource and America and other place like Germany we had a rate at which or more running as if we are clearly in the next 20-30 years it's going to affect the economy because we and our economy. But Africa, unfortunately for us, the youthful population on the world, you find them in Africa. So when it comes to this resources, the most valuable resources that a country will need to develop, Africa, then come to think of the natural resources, gold, diamond, whatever you can think of in this world, it will be. And by the saying and poverty, I try to now back down to this politics of greed as a former Emma Sandeman and Nedi Yabrabum and Yawa Neman Ohiana Adengena to Africans development different development. So going forward, we need to sit down and see say going forward again here as a continent and I think so Ghana is here presently. Baby anayanam abrabo anayanam
Tana kufado penso equat for anquasset and I say
ya risky sanka ye ku na ansi wo ha na John Mahama comes into the picture and 10 months after we had that kind of transformation that is happening in Ghana you'll be inspired to do say oh okay say you heard baby ana Ghana wo this is on Maya from the your friends saying commercial space we could not even go to borrow money and Sika IMF a paltry $3 billion and are buying 2 gold board intervention to be generating over 7 billion within 10 months and so certain people are thinking some intervention has been brought to bear and again Adiana Emma Ohiana attitude of my way you say you copy all the statutory funding Sika no kogu baby na kwabrani di din se mini one of the biggest, one of the safest way is to uncap all these. And here now called this assembly there is a cash flow. And until I don't bet my catcher say you see your friend is saying cheap compound afibia because the president has taxed them. Say afibia making sure say ubesi your friend say cheap compound. Yes, it's because of the money has been released. What I say, and this way now what in China we are. So what is the magic? Because baby and Ghana Gina all the credible rating agencies now right here out. And I am Kahokra, Moody's, Fitch, S&P, and Dangote junk. Na Ghana obo Ghana DNA. So 10 months after everyone is saying that this institution will write their score on Ghana. Now on my rating and high. It means that something has happened. And Mugabe, one significant thing that you need to know is that until recently the inflation and 53. Because a banner turned the Bank of Ghana into a pension press. Yeah, that's why you print the system. Then, inflation, 24. Then the government comes in, come out with a certain intervention some no ka say you project say by the end of the year no you be end with either 8 or 7 say see I am 6.3
if the fundamentals are weak
exactly exchange rate and so say yes then you come to debt to GDP we were hovering around your first IMF the way at the back somewhere around 100% because now your debt is so much say now you into and I'm not your patch out say I'm no say your debt to your GDP is around 45%. These are factual where you can't rebut them in future fact said this is what is happening. Then the dollar na to say it was around 17-16 and then you can see stability. So dollar is not just about 10 or 11, it is about stability so that the business community can plan. So in the next 1-2 months make me plan the business within a certain frame, and for me that is inspirational. I mean ECOWAS to and other African countries now they see the signs, and I don't know make you say you see the coming back of John Mahama. There is something that people know who he has been there before as president. First one they say but the fact is that being there as president he's very assertive. He's very bold in making decisions. On India, say, or Casa or because being there, that experience is there. He has tried and tested. So there is no time for mistake. And anything we say within a short period, or mining move in a certain direction.
Yeah, any mistake 1 year.
1 year without scandal. Because I know the war by nobody would do. Why would go about what you do?
Buy the fire.
Exactly. Oh no, sir. Just but we are going to do. We are fine. Ukodin Semuna. I'm because that time na man for them akufo da na man for Christian obi antan no na akufo da your papa senka ope papa na president but ya dia konwara man na di nsem na nipa beka na bima agranchira what I say it is not about say obi tan obi the fact is that do the right thing, and for me I think say some of the interventions are binding good. For instance, appointment hu na ya na nyansa bia enemy ene look at the number of ministers or certain here. Yeah, by a certain ministry kafu say yeah ba aduma no doso. Akufo the government ended up to be the most useless government in the history of this country. Another 4 project. And 4 years in the year. So these are nema HSA abano something has changed, something fundamentally a change. I am a Ghana for who improvement and inflation is saying and nema told as a forum. So, and there is discipline. The rate at which a government expended, Sikana Yamfa means Muna Yamfa Yamquas, some other young Bonquasia, Musiama, Kamatoy, and so. So, a dear Kosubiano, Ghana for Nano, IMF say, a buying Sikana, what time or Bank of Ghana with a Baba $1 no. IMF Nanka say a Bono. They say they wanted government to exhibit transparency in the way it is done because that is a normal practice that is done everywhere. Then in September, the government came out with a clear guideline telling people how much they are pushing in. Olaka says September I am putting 1.4. October I am putting 1.2. Last month I'm putting 800. So there is transparency. So you can't say abain papa. And yes, abain papa the only mistake. Abain only mistake. Okay, obetie na waye bibi. For instance, my man can be show. Lithium D whereby. I think in the wisdom of the government, if we say company na ko hit snag because there has been a significant drop in your friends and lithium sikano and the company no waje what in sign ko untimi jim from is about also on yet and they are promising the party a bit too more for because as part of the negotiation they have to be relocated amount for more away nothing is happening. Then the company comes to government say more I don't know no your friends we need tons near $3,000. It's a drop it to $2,200 and the akasi yeah the boka. So that negotiation the course wa ama I didn't reduce about 5 no then Ghana for so say daddy akufo dey 10 buy kwa yesi empena your friends and the yamana na ho eti Ghana for cancer asem aban no tie say if that is what you are saying there you let us pause yankwa na Ghana for nko engage na ye nyina ya tie ho ase a yanka say yakase ye be no 11 dey na buy
bibia be
you shall pass. So abmamuo no nye wona na na wu no wa mo akonga na me na me ya busua panyina nseburu na de bedi nipa na de tumi ama wo lumba ye feze na busua panyina say ye do obi aka nyasasem bi ache no nti o na ye obeye a family settings you can do that nonsense but in in governance Mugabe unti me di sanse bu
your mind no
mind nipa na di to me amount what I say you need to respect the people and that is why yes anything sa issue no buy no the government and the ministry of the land no apostle said then let us do a wider consultation say by ya nipa bete no ho say and you move that decision will not be a sole decision of government but the people of Ghana are involved exactly
sorry man just a point of order on say sir rational former lands minister jina pono every year causing side deal no Mugabe is on the record when it comes to mining any adwuma ya mining communities those days new monteba hafo agitation say ba ye and no boama ye bie ye ni wo you know contracts
2004
2005 how contracts are signed and all that compensation as you know settlers and no omanye and so to be a documentary at the betray and sign for Nigeria to multi-sign or in any jitua na no nche say kwanina ono no na fu ni ye twakwan ne dia fam no ono agya to and so mo yes documentaries ni na in the rush that be portray so community crown or community na dey mine in the crown
for bemo that am wakam
yeah you remember those days months time no now wakam back in the crown how many do you of wakam West Africa Association of Communities Affected by Mining and today no say if there is a restructuring of the agreement near go back to the drawing board fair enough because we need to do proper consultation and proper community engagement because a sick pain first, second, third, and many times say you could do a good deal with Krobiswa. You should have the needed community engagement. So we say a kutia in 2 months actually, you know. Now the whole agitation should be a hundred albums will be a no yet. But say only a good drinking source of water. It be almost by not saying
social responsibilities,
even the compensation as you demo per their crops. And their farm size in the crown, and you're in a demo.
So maybe this is Sanema winning, and I can say a buying papa, and yet a buying papa, the only mistake. Now, the mistake, how do you take from there? By making sure that you respect the people. What I said, because governance, too many people at the mount, and I had a resounding victory. John Mahama, Onya, it's all quite clear. It's a Ghana for fed up. Now, no, make catch you. We say, West Africa in 2024. No, Ghana, can rubio. By then, was a democratic revolution. I got to about Kubu, binding this form. Yes, because we were a month for a t-shirt, I can't 9 pennies, 9 or in percentage pay. 9 in the history of this country. When I lose elections, 9%. Now say a penny, I can't 9 pay. As I go in Mugabe, because 9 is one of the biggest losses Obia suffer in the history of this country. You don't do a t-shirt and say 9 pay. It will you are endorsing that particular thing that we are. So for me, I think baby I doing men can't say Ghana yes Dubai. Men can't say mistakes and I'm not saying everything is perfect, but you see me purpose so who say wako wedima to anywhere what you be na ujina. Now what be aware I think that there is a wide gap in terms of comparative analysis and Ghana for any will be and no West Africa. And then you have said the whole of Africa. A man for who said John Mahama, despite the difficulty and Ghana, he has been able to usher Ghana into a certain realm. I hope once again it's back on him. And to say a fan say maybe ECOWAS and because ECOWAS, many of the countries are angry with the way a man over the years, are standing as a white elephant, the same way AU and Fasobia so it's like a useless entity of Fasobia. So exactly, so you need somebody who can bring certain to bear. Every country now, like Burkina Faso, they walk away from ECOWAS, ECOWAS cry by so you need somebody now collecting all these in a quest for development as a united front Africa. Yes, because he has been very free with the affairs of Tuareg and other countries. And Cote d'Ivoire, the fractana engagement with them today. He's in Abuja and at several other places. Not clearly a choice. That person, because he has been there before, and that connection is how we know how that. So it's easy to connect. You understand? And with the depth of experience, I'm sure. Say, let us hope. Say, Yanuma, Yabomo Bu about ECOWAS. you are if some for some mass over the years because the purpose for its setup we realize it and member countries don't even respect it. So let us see say the hope and confidence that John Mahama has brought to this country can also be sent to say Sabaya Africa the kind of dignity here because Mugabe said Masiaka and a continent why do we have to go outside cap in hand begging? What I say we don't need because Samuel Jamfi a gold board has demonstrated clearly said there is enough wealth in this country. We can take care of ourselves without going to because Yakopa man for just 3 billion. Now within a short period, it means over 6 to 10 billion our gold border. You need to respect that and you say yes, certain intelligence has been brought to bear. Some comic characters go on TV and they will tell you say, the air cost in a banda in Shishaya de Gua, in Shishaya Bang, a bang, a winning Nansa over tonight I could just for 8 good years. No one to me on far intervention by Kokra, Maubena son for man for good and you must see 2 coffee and sana so called intervention so I am for so yet to come and educate this to a cathedral. We are single-handedly at gold board. That is the sort of intervention that they brought to this country. So I think there, and people wanted to wrap that particular thing by bringing a lot of silly ways or to talk galamsey for gold. And I said, go over the years, gold not to free. First, not to gold free. So me,
and I say jewelry shop.
Exactly. And I think there, some particular way I buy. Yet me, I replicating our other folder. A bit never. Nana make us even timber crown. We can go the gold board where make sure the government become the only source of export in this particular country. Ambassadors cannot come to government and several other ways. Exactly.
Timber board.
A timber board. And so if you allow people to do that.
Policy in there, FNPP for I don't know, so okay, even after the election, so Mugabe can't say Charlie. The way NDC, a craft and a draft gold board policy, no. Ebanisa no man huda. You know, I'm like, I almost said that.
And I said, I agree. What is why I say, I have my son, because a few years of some child, you know, I give in opposition, look at the conduct of the market and then
now you said your mama beating my no, but you know, you say beating my intent and saying.
Oh, I think nature is in his favor, because over all the indicators, economic analysis, be anywhere by a basis. I bet we justify where we are today. And I think that nature itself, you know, because we are not Ghana now, never be another corner. Certain things has to be brought to bear. So we are quicken because not Ghana for here.
The fundamental.
Yes. Now I'm for a new hope. Our democracy. And I okay on the integration. Cool leader about Kruma. He became a hero. And that was very important. Yes. But Ghana for new trust and confidence in this. Exactly.
But they say your mama.
But
it became a signal to democratically elected leaders to say, so man sit up, no man know what the people want.
Yes. And you know, clearly a choice about something has happened in this country and a boost to Ghana for confidence and not just about a sem kaka OTI say I won't bother Mahama Baso without anything I want for quite serious but there are factual realities a bit under penny whatever you're saying and it's a bad gold board a bad dollar a bad way so these are factors undisputed nobody can rebut them without any way there which means something is happening and for me that is Adeba Kwa bringing investor confidence and again these institutions are making sure say yeah we are lying. For instance, the judiciary over the years ruling free court by the biggest court of the land. Ordinary person you can say ruling with the non-saba ordinary people subjecting Supreme Court ruling to intellectual scrutiny and they will tell you say non-saba any ruling a choice that we are investor or basa you be very careful and into that most of our agreement with international way obviously they don't want to use our court in terms of your friends
litigation.
Yes, they want to use foreign arbitration or any other court because they do not have or the millions of dollars in their bow. Now judge akwaja poncha the botiano they will not allow that. That is why most of the arbitration so I think that you research all these critical institutions and agencies are very important. I think that John Mahama should stay focused and lay the solid foundation for a new Ghana that is about to take off. Because my culture says Akufo-Addo era should be consigned as a dark pages in our political history. Nobody want to go back. But going forward, in the future, John Mahama may be seen as the person who built the foundation for the new Ghana taking off. And I think that for that reason, what track it may build on this. Ghana will once again get to our destination.
Very well. Live on TV as well as and also on Power 97.9 FM. Don, all the Rebecca and Afe, you move on.
Yeah, why not? Because say you come about GM there, now there's a lot. Now me the American is going to the African Union, any ECOWAS, no, or which me put a shine on Ghana, Nafi. Beyond the no, you hear what Ghana has to, offer the world, because Ghana, after over 64 years as an independent country, no, and you might be, be a head so and you're lacking infrastructure. And sad drive no they seen and also say key major road projects or bet me within a space of 2 years, because Adebakwa and Hane says yeah projects or many more. Idea you bet me the nipa 200 that come home. Let's speed up a year work in progress. Nobody wants in the paper 10 to go. It's a bit slow pace now. And now I'm out for so need BA from the previous era. Near few so politicians it me dilly around projects are no more their an election year. No as a bait to win the next election. It's only on the free. So that's the one reason I make us say many JM at the timelines are two projects need be fantastic. And now also I mean a site tour you could see a speed up the project. And this the kind of because Africa needs a leader who is mobile. Fantastic. We don't need a diplomatic president and a ceremonial president that be out near the documents able to 2 years ago we see total waste. Because if you are president who is always on the ground like Rwanda president here, okay, on this highway, when the MC so under your watch and the coin is say fire 1, 2, 3 all other MCs will set up. Yes. So you can use even one district as a case study. Now, I run across all districts. For be able to say, if you don't set up a president, his eyes are on the ground, he'll fire you. So we need a president who is mobile. That's why I'm happy for JM, because one, age in his early 60s, so he's still young. Who's a physical, he still got that energy and that drive. So this is the time and he needs to be mobile, moving up and down, moving through all the 16 regions. And then within 2 years, Ubonse or minor and Yama are stabilized, because now I think I lack of my repair national discipline. Everybody thinks to say, oh my no, your slogan and I motto in freedom and justice. You understand? But when there is, a national policy and an agenda, that's at times I'm catching for say you say president. It's like a father in a family setting. Yeah. How you get up in the morning to 2 fear call gardens, mundo doha, munya planting waha, your waterway near the same way as you as a president or mine is all run because on my mano and it's a won't shama and call Australia. The same way about president, and you saw him more mindfulness to go astray. Exactly. You put them to check, strict scrutiny, discipline. And nona ama countries need be Rwanda out of war. It need to try and say Rwanda, because this is a president that is always on the ground. And I'll just appeal say JM comeback should be an action comebacker. Energy or they buy work somebody buy a reset agenda near the say you desire energy mind you half by 2026. This same time, you better now if you need to be praises people will just be clamoring say, no, this president needs an extension of term because of Numa Oye. You also want to term. So need your waka. But like you said, if say public cry no basso, we need you for an extension into not now feel to Tomaya. Mind your mind be a consistency. Yeah. When it comes to consistency in government also now if you're able to stay for like 8, 12, 20, 16, 20 years and my stability ball mining and more consistent trend in development. But NPP they honestly general and I'm afraid for that party and what is to come, because saying and looking at all man, they just exist because the word opposition is there. But when it comes to say the word opposition is there, into no more from opposition. But pass a Juma saw to put the government on these tools. So you begin to wonder, say, on what basis do they even exist as a political party?
Serious, or I mean,
they are not serious. It is almost now almost to me unite all forces to put the government on check. Na kwaya se o ma akra ni fie no muntu min siesie yi a ebede no mo ya kona magana fo aka se mfatu mi ni show munsa ebede into no NDC should keep going forward and keep going on, you know, the trend they are going, you know. Na yem fam pai bon town much because here pro the next 4 years no we are living with the NDC into you see it me town machi chia yentine womu. And for me that's the beauty of democracy. So even if you are in opposition now or criticize constructively, a boama wunya a bit of credibility.
Yeah.
But so if you are criticizing for criticizing sake because you are an opposition person, and then you lose all credibility, that's why Bantam Pino ebe can answer far expressway why unpopular. So me and Sunday school mates, you know, what be unpopular
no Sunday school.
Yeah, I mean we grew together in the same neighborhood. Me a Sunday school boom. And so Joseph and me are my classmates from primary Cambridge to Prempeh College.
Okay.
And as and so my Sunday school mates. How about to Methodist Church?
Let me do what you baby.
Mango down.
Okay. I think so we see baby you're doing there in our politics and you need 1990 BM and I need 1992. So you can whip public sentiment. So tribal cast and nobody may play me as Antony me automatically more some crisis and the people want to look at the real issues. And we are journalists now what radio so now we can sama men never say you can speak lies. Now I get your way. Because people will fact check you and prove to you say you are hollow in some of and you have a basis. So it is very important to our journalist friends out there. When I'm a journalist, let me tell me a journalist. Say answer about the jam from so the concept. You should know say you are speaking to discerning minds who will subject virtually whatever you say there to critical scrutiny and fact check. So I know that they will not swallow those things. You cannot deceive the public now. Until our engagement for credibility sake. We jira want to now can say making sure that they all can what here. So when here who producer not any other person engage them to explain the subject to you. So you don't matematic. When mathematics is because Merira hopa na abani $10 billion in the hey that is pure ignorance. And I say ignorance bliss, but to advertise it publicly is stupidity. We don't do that.
Journalism, we as hosts and then panelists, always when you sit behind the console, you are to educate, inform, and to entertain. Now, and you would say, "Wow, be a with you."
Yeah, and I will fear about what they seek to do is he is very uninformed, and they want to impose that uninformed understanding on the public and make it with the reality. And as or imposing a twisted understanding of something.
One example. This is just a recent example. Over the weekend there was a social media video be JM Sharaf or call event be a military escort be.
Okay.
Now I don't know where the information is coming from. A man fulfill say young man in Mumuna will recruit military personnel on escort. Information I mean say military detail and now as security check. And your station or more events na say that. Into only P or and all man escort to baby obekwa kotena. But then when you go on social media, most journalists are flying comments as if say you know onuna recruit the military person so man that escort. Obi say JM reset doesn't include allowing a military person with a gun to escort your son. That is also arrogance of power. Kindly do the needful. But you as a journalist, you should first do your check and find out say boy no or no one recruit military personnel no some fanning ko event no or but not in the car mu or no be in the door man no or in the buy and now but when you that check now you this poster now for eventually information ministry government communications na say attorney general Godfrey Dami say na so you need kra ne bag we need to do checks on most of these things now. The correct information,
yeah, so it's very important because some people are very dangerous, especially in American military for the you pack 46 now buy a man almost close to 80%. Now because your money is boom, no more for dear. I know the day, no, within the military, you must say, what salary crowd do your company, no deductions are your salary. Yes, within Uber build a certain animosity, be all here you incite the forces, and the back of fans and the braba, threaten national security. So it is very important. Professional. Young can't be room. It will take 3 or 4 people to rebel, and then we will get explosion. You understand? So I think that's very important.
For that wonderful submission.
So your politics now, or say what the arrogance and and this is a political party one lose power in a very shameful manner. But even in opposition, they keep losing the numbers. Quite clearly, a choice, your friends say they've crossed their Rubicon. And for me, what the court did, after examining all the facts, they basically, but say, oh, NDC are winning seats, we more Mugabe, and now sorry, na politics. And you need to be very serious. Say I can't number back so different in some money because opposition no or the infrastructure that was brabo in modebo apart from say yantina parliament said yanfanjin kwasi achinwe yan making sure that the proceedings will not happen. But one of the MPs interview their job is to sabotage parliament, to sabotage proceedings because on one side they don't have the numbers to do. And for me, that's very frustrating, and I keep telling people that unfortunately, the NPP that is supposed to be a responsible opposition party, that is not what they are doing, and that is very will come out with them. When they are in power, they destroy. When they go to opposition, they sabotage, and they are very destructive, very arrogant, and that is their nature. So Ghana will not sympathize with them with some of these things. NDC ordinary may not need this see for anything. I heard the posture, the conduct, like client for so more say NDC decide to boycott this particular way. Supporters in Ankasa and the party the form because these people deserve no sympathy. And again, obviously, na numbers no money sabaya democracy inti. Numbers no money and I never mamma demo money papa na demo because one person the Kufuado went to Kumasi and na a man for bisa and say oh my yo mo kwan mo na omo Kumasi what their largest way no find saying one of the constituency Okoya almost kwabre almost more per kwan or say kokomiti ya odi duru abato na won to afasha obabi and the people decided so almost the kokomiti be say we want to abama one say one lose numbers in parliament me na so for me I think say the best year na but unfortunately subsequent to that kwan ya won so mo handle mo ho parliament ni na se for no and ya nimguase because my culture Ghana for at politics I say you can't sway that tribal and emotional cast and get your way. Oko parliament make sure say Juma DS Woody as a critical opposition party that is what you do. But now when they see all the scaffolds now course they could not even say to look at bills in as for the government and the form man call now 15 way has been approved by that proportion in as for it means the money media sounds as opposition that is not what you're doing. And for me there is this propaganda circular that has been written for all NPP communicators no more than and parliaments some of them are repeating the same thing or say more than 44 constituencies 44 polling stations in the core never understand a court na kase yan only way Mugabe because in the first place NDC arm for 44 nkwana core so here your friends we need no music now. I've seen the official they were asking for the annulment of the entire election because said the credibility of the election was tainted. And again court I catch the court to say after examining all the critical fight because when I be na kwanya tie we live be a who say me fit for na me di no fama me so obi court no kwa say dem na court no head dem nyina no ka say baby aduru election is court no for because emra da ho say dey to aba no man fa so then what is your beef? And then you go could do press conference now catch the Ghana for say court near kangaroo court. Say a case court a kangaroo court. I want to setting up because you the only person of any market with me Chief Justice on Friday conventionally Supreme Court entrance about within less than 12 hours and Panama could do what's a now. Kangaroo court na kofa former MP when you sue on the ticket of NPP ben besa the judge at the man better your friends bench so be asem in this modern day Ghana for you civilize when you do some of this nonsense you think people have trust in your judiciary go to high court Akufo appointed almost 60 judges I be me legal advisors for NPP as a political party they are all wearing your friends upon going to court and nobody be asem and you think we are joking say you can't say obi aye your court no kangaroo court so what about we say upon going no more whatever it is Mugabe these are the realities of Ghana for instance Ghana court a kangaroo court Akufo na set up that kangaroo
so what they do
all packing oh you see it's about seriousness say abai mu na say incumbency will favor you. That is one thing on NDC side. And the young guys are so serious. Almost ECD will never want to. I'm for the kind of pandayo. I'm for the parliament. Yes, I'm for the parliament. NDC the kind and party or non-facility in the show. But they are there already. So that is the seriousness.
Very well. May I say, Ivan innocent. Don't.
First of all, my mini can share mini baby darling Chris, me follow about Kubina. I'll say some of this side is
Kobe Unisex Salon, so I say George Kobla, Atiki, Munina, life, Kobe.
Darling Chris say on him some of the other side I'm your hot sir because no food said they be me as a host into also mean try embrace a panel now. Fire no mupa. Me da wano ase. But you know, Pandai no Enisa NDC a fall for Musa Dankwa a post no diaban.
Okay.
Because elections are won at the polling stations. Fantastic. And until the last drop also NPP is trying to play the sympathy card. Initially no musin komun kokra. So where from now I feel Jinemua Omufu say is going in their favor in Omunko. Sani siwo Ablekuma Ekwefriye ne Erabra Obin Diano. At a point I make free any felt as a constituency ne dono. Or kwa obe when hands down. Party now man that support. And mama ne support now fi base no etida no. At the last hour I feel amobu yasembe komuno. Now the harm has already been done. Similarly, you been a cause of pandai no. The NPP felt to say, election, maybe our courts ruling nearby and it doesn't favor them into maybe anka election, they are not going. But I've heard some of their leaders also move to Pandai to support the candidate. Party no any focus. And you're united into no the candidate in a person kokra party in person beko. Party in person kwa candidate in person beko. And such a party, so your minor eshaninsa, not just your minor ebejija no. And the Ghanaians should look at our attitude even in opposition and where they are coming from. Such a party any focus and direction no. So we need your mind show munsape or mind no mubejija no. And me I'm just hoping say unu obi kwa so bunu emano we say duano twa so a ebe fifi ba utu ase na emfifi bio. This is the time for 8 years Ghana for edie on Fantastic. So we are not giving them any chance of mercy. So one city painting, why do we put in all our arsenals? You need the super majority to change certain things that needed to be changed or mind change when they were in power.
Okay.
And I believe that if the NDC goes all out for this election, Joseph Yamino or Miami Junior, Kogan so and others are,
Kogan Junior.
Yeah, from the college. Yeah, it's all new there. Fresh food. I want to meet you as my junior.
Kwabna Junior.
Mugabe, you know when you're on the phone. And you want to meet for Pampa Mubianta. And when you can be as an adjo Pampa or school. Yeah, that's how it has to play out. Say the elections is on when 31st. Yeah, so more days ahead. And government in power, incumbency advantage can favor you in taking in. And it's also become a norm, say when it's an election period and even a by-election, you put in all your arsenals to ensure say development. And one thing, sir, constituency BR should know, say, so now if there's a by-election, you have to go with the government in power. Yes. And no independent candidates, A+ money. The others know who you are. Almost say, if you go with the government in power, you are likely to get development and also be with the majority.
Yeah.
You go with where the majority are. And so man share no say one candidate or your mudi into almost the manner. Mind the way be obey parliament on minister ba kokra punu wa kobom koko.
Very well. Since you no toya man will say yes. You no ekasa. Now no shit. Yeah, mama, my take it for granted. Or manebo ma yan share ne meyi. Yes. Some of us are near very close to Dr. Manebo during the elections, before, during, after the elections. Here, you met together no. In him how papa na kuma. Or dropa no or my way is here. I know something for a year don't bet me a year, but Mamma Nema Emre Mamma Momo Lakeshi Mamma Tiase Yerenemba Mamma Momo Lakeshi. Yes. Something for what China or Mokoshi or Monquano. Oh, we ain't saying no more. You chain any and show me no more. Jumemu ano moto anananom ewo nsedo ya ni wie fintem nipa wu ayen kan akira asem omukọ ati yan kai omo Alhaji Limona Miniru ni yere ne mbayen kai omo Mutala Muhammad ni yere ne mbayen kai omo Abuaje ne busu yan kai omo sojafo mienu aneka ho ni munyanfo Dr. Samuel Sapon yan kai ne yere ne mba yan kaka ye ho Kofi Atameos mejire se bibia aboko nipa wu an e kaka se nipa bi mo ho Kofi Atameos President Mercy ba ewie mechiao Semoho Enfrema mfa kwa wo Oti ase abeti ase wonti ase Enfrema bi emfa kwa Se mo se bi makoye campaign ewo campaign ase bis eye mo kan say wa nyesa na mo kan wa omoye wo no omotimi aburu bia mabako awu se de yete no bibi nsikwa omo wa so no omuntie mesi bibi nyeden ensikwa no motu bia yetu bia enye very careful die bia ebebu hu aten the steps bia ye take bia no aya ye nwu mienu ene nipa ho chine na nipa ni ho ena a date keke obi anso beko a date keke. So sometimes when I sit behind the console na me kasa and some no bar na me kan me we no be say me said na me kan e bi ho a me ntimi nkae nkan chiro when I'm in the spirit me ntimi hu nkan chiro ba ya trust ne yanka kae ho you will nipa bi wo ho a omo to nro every week you mo ye dialysis every week omo do omo kwani omo live bia to ho ma NDC. Let's reach out to them. And then let's reach out to them. I know said the welfare department mo boy juma media a year William Zatamo Jimo mo boy juma papa. Let's reach out to some of the people you who mo ewo programs ya say FL once in a while na ya sorry na akochia wo mo na akofie ni wo mo ni mo akodi nkomo. Let's reach out to them. Nipa ho na chine na nipa ni ho. My trasia wo say esimesi ni ho na afi ne ba be kai no. No. Otiase no. Dey na man. Yes. Mekasa ene mekasa. Tunu so da fom boko. Oma oso omonsa. Bi akodu parliament ewie ni fi wo ma. Na onu omonam somiha ne nam gates ni ne ye campaign ni wi fi wo mo. Appointment BSC na so. Because na appointment aba SC na so. O ma no onu mo kon nakra na onu mo ebre nam gata no ene ni wi fi wo mo. Omo frɛ no kwa no hoko na wonye den onfa abrɛ chichire ho ifi nipa ho. Yes, ti de bia enye ni ye ma enye hwehwɛ ni mu ba bi ebetimi abo nipa no yemmo nipa no de be kakra bi ebetimi aye de ama no no yenye ma no wo hye office o se ka kire secretary no ka kire se mini ho. So sata mana ope MP na ope position bi no na tambia omo frewa omo ne wa na koba. You reach out to everyone. Me kasa na attach like me kasa na what wa we say e kan e wo so. Omane bo amane lead ye. Anadwo ye na me fra o mane anadwo de suma obefa wo hu me square obe return call no ye ba power onya defense ministry wasi muga brani ni nkomo the first interview fia no ba you bi mu so ho a ya dumbi ene du makodu ba bi a wo ma ye de wo maduro no. Because we be expecting some position me why the bema woman. But I adom President need to me try nani enhwe obi a Chief of Staff on ko to me nye Dr. Kalisus ko to me nye appointees no yan reach out to our grassroots for no. Christmas is just around the corner. Mama yanya say opposition na muga ni memo de ye ba ye mo say no. I know I'm not going to blame any appointee. I know how it is, but let's reach out to our grassroots, the foot soldiers. Manu motital posters no brunya eba ye mo smile kakra biensa ye mo feel say ye wo power. Let's reach out to them. Okobo radio stations there because me person me kasa me be mu. I'm not going to do that. Media me di Mugabe o. Dia me meka no obi ntumi nka. Ba me hye nipa na odi ya wa ya na eye me ya. Kosobi ho a wonu obi obeka na sema kire amano okosuchire obi kura na wonu obi ho kura na ache se obefra wo obefa fo na obeka nkuranse sema kire no no woda se ne blood pressure no kura koso etimi yeden etimi ba fo mboko obi do good board na nipa ye ho ma bia samijamfi obedu eye wayi na waye ma basintali senyo munku anso ni amo appointment wana ameboa. Samijamfi is doing very very well. Basintali is doing very very well, my brother. Basintali Nyamisha Samijamfi Nyamisha. My MD is doing very well. Edmond Combat. Honorable Kwame Agboja, Transport Minister Honorable Bukari, Honorable Kofi Bua, Lands and Natural Resources, Minia Eye Honorable Kenneth J, Water Resources, Works and Housing, Agric Minister Honorable Eric Opoku, Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Samuel Okujoto Ablakwa, IGP and the police force, fire service in Yaba Mausi Sapoma, fire force, the month of December, and then the 15th, I cut 10 days ni kudibrunya. Soja fueni aje CDS. Debi abekobiano, appointees ne ye chuma. But ene e kama kuma e touch me like e kama kuma say ene me can be bench appointees ne say yet now opposition 8 years e kuma de emrante ne maba wa na yeden ache days ya akai so we MP identify about 20 people in your constituency. Woman no mudi wachi awo no mokoba. Woman no moko work Saturday Sundays. Woman no mo na manajo etital posters. Obi wo ha wonte ase ne yire wo ho. Obi wo ha wonte ase ne maame wo ho. Let's reach out to them. Aka 10 days ni akwa ko dibronya. Ene ye 15 December. Kakra me to me ayeno. I will do it. But also dia na wo ye. To make sure say wo be man nipa be ye edu. Ensa to me akomo ano e wo brunya ebem. Na so mo tra sese no mo tun se didi a o mo timi aka se honorable yi ya mi nhira no. Eya ni ewure fi ntam dodo. Wo se ko na ba, o si we da bi we obeha me. Nti onfa. Bronya eba enyanka ye kai omo. Ye maame mo ye nananom, o ma omo kuruma wu agya omo, de omo bedi eden ye kai omo ana e wo this time him. Enye de bia na me ba betena abeka NDC NPP NDC NPP. Your positioner min blemu bia. Ena de ne de eya de se de na me de to appointees no mo obi no. Yakopon ahira wo mo nsem no. So omuma be enso yen grassroots fo no so. Ye fu soldiers no ebi nsu wo mo so. Omu nidi no mo nsre. Akokọ no munya benwe emu no munya binni anwa no mu ntumi ntobi no munya aduane ofie no mu yide no mu manso eniye kakra emre ye ninka so papa ye bia wo be ye ne no ho ebe bie kwan ama wo nana wo ma daachi bi enye nne ma emre bia wo ye nima ebeba no ebe bie kwan ama obi. Brenye mwaye wajune se Dr. Maneboama obe visite ni yere ye woja ne kire ene ne ma na wakochia ne maame ana na oni na oni na kasa ahye wo mu nkura ya na woni aboaje abusuafo bedi nkomo Fosilav miniso obeye no dodo oboase aboaje abusua Alaji limu na abusuafo hwan ene be mo ma smile coming this Christmas aye by 10 days time. Dr. Samuel Sapon yere ne mba oka soja ni na womo eku no ewo danger. Is in the central region, right? Major Mahama some kain. One kind of yenenema. No, one kind of yenenema. Brenya nebe will be an yenenema bidi. But in Kofobi wa, you know, when I start here, finish tray near, or Manibu Amadi, and I am ya, Medina Wamin Tiasi, Dr. Samuel Sapo, Nimutala, Muhammad Mu, Medina Wamin Tiasi. Sa Dr. Manibu Ama, or dear winning lesson in the appointment be brebe na nya ono ene bie na ne na nkedi nkunuma ko bie ne ho appointment. Minim de o mane ye, wote ase na minim de o ye. Minim command no ni medi. To imagine say 25th December will be ani age atifie no. Last year no manene ne yere ne man na need you. This year omunya that fatherly touch na ni wo biem ekọ forever and ever. This enei eye adom bi tina wo reka atiasefo no divine favor, divine selection account na now ka atiasefo no humble yourself. Bra wo ase. Shameko office of the president. Na me bo right the executive secretary office. Na me right ahobrase ekura eye Dr. Kalisus Mahama. Me aba Joyce Bauer. Na mo ahobrase a ewo eye the chief of staff. Onumunyanfo Julius Abra. Eni ni office staff wo mo ye adwuma ewo ahobrase enko a. Uwe His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Frye ma melody na obeye wa too. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama president of ahobrase manipa. Hweninua Ibrahim Mahama. Hweninua Hawa Mahama. Mr. Fred Mahama, Peter Mahama, Michael Mo, Frankalo, Brahma Mahama. Wo share o ma hwe de we o mo si bre o mo ho ase. Ibrahim Mahama ya doya wansamu onim se weye A ni weye B wa ya doya nyankopon so hira na ehira no na so bi o opetumi no oni nipa ne di na chi na obo anu ma ne nya tumi no wonya tumi ni wie ne san kofo no mpeso mo bebe ni bim insisa yesuman bro nya ba yenya doye ye kai grassroots no ye kai radio stations awudo bi kakra bi aye ma omo na yam recognize some staffs bi say wo mu ya de maybe atwamu na ye radio good maybe atwamu na ya hoto na ye akra ye class media ye kaka ye ho trust wo Ghana ha me to radio stations bebre mu ewa ha presenters ni bebre kwotena fie eni padodo say ena kai ebi mu yen starting kai ho yen for telephone yen frefre ho na koye nkoja weekend wo ko ma ne bo amade obi so beba wo de saa na tie ntu aye no ko a wo koja sansa wo so de beba obi so beba wo de do beba wo de no so obi so beba wo no so ne de ba ye tiase de ne ye de aboa ye ho edi saye ne kwankonsa ne sekuro no dɔɔso wura office bi na kope favor o favor ne ja obi a okose na tresa apanyina akono ho na mi ne se hene manya wo se wo ho asafo hene obi ansomo yes obi anya dan ansomo ne se ka ja no wa sidan na nka minu nie no ke be dan wamaya mampanyina ompen ho asem amaya mampanyina wo aho brase hwese ya wo eye 2024 mu ye 2025 mu enye nwura 2026 na so afi atwa to kora e wo bosumi mu emu apai and then 15th. Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS, unanimous. Sir, amamai ebibimai, I would do a year the West Africa hey. Atoyemo West African. Yetumi akwa setna say unanimously. Woman endorse Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Say 2027. One mayor AU chair. Now, I'm not surprised. So I say, you call Japan, you call PMO or Yokohama. From Tokyo to Yokohama. Now me who say, Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Kakrabia, yes, co-chair. Kakrabia co-chair. Wane Angola wan Kakrabia co-chair. You be a your mama. Would be a person in your Mahameshia. When him who say yes, Papa we. Dear tia ama joma medino aji babia yesenya eye second nkroma e Ghana ne say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama oko UN General Assembly no UN General Assembly ko so e America memo no recently and some oko kan no was shaking the foundation. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was shaking the foundation. Emma ebibiman nyina wiase nyina we bia wo sa papa we wo ye Kwame Nkrumah wasan babiem. O te Ghana how wonya aye another pramo the useless ones NPP foi afanya markets mo no mo te Ghana how mo fa John Mahama enye hwe. Na da bia me catch no say John Mahama na yenya no Nigeria for so say patch o say can for John Mahama ma omo afe ba kope. That is the man. You when no TV news screen so no Facebook live for 1979 TVS was it papa ni nie John Dramani Mahama sakwa kwatena fie nwotwe amanya me asafa na nyadan ama nkane wo say papa yi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ya wo that TV so a na wo fefe for the foreign affairs minister my good brother honorable Samuel Okujo to abla kwada so yi kwa na biemu a na ke ni say efie nwotwe a akufo adone ne kofo bese wo man wi no ye benya nyansani a wo fie nya some wisdom peace asumdwe adware no ahobrase adware no what in your 10 days around in 11 months. Amende Ghana, yes, your economy no be stabilizing. Okoto ade na etina ne atom koto ade na ni atom inflation now drop it to single digit. Inflation away. The persistent increase in the price of goods and services and away. It is about good leadership. Who a good leader will be BS ye or mine D. Timamo for mine so no almost see opinion no more day or mudi. She anya Ghana kwao. Say your mama baby your mama besi bia no ewiase nyina ye dan e na efre no yes 2027 ya endorse no so maye UN and what they say African Union chairman ECOWAS for o mind unanimously when papa na ka no ho asem no amotiwa no tetem no tetem no tetem no tetem no tetem your mama so no anko tetem aso no na aka your mama na say anko tetem na o de say o si bo adwuma no direction o do man ne ko no o mo adwuma no say si next year ye be man ko aso meka say no 10 bi ma sadi okoye ATS yesu ya ene akofa ne ba ye no ye ne be sama na to aso ka demonstrations bi e de ba wo so Ghana ha no wo ye na be so onko bi ma hwe muka say ba be di agoro constitution ni pa na twere 1992 constitution ye twa kufa ado mo no mo he ye twa 1992 constitution o sa fo no mo he ko je bon kroma no he no ya how many years no mo he no tatam ni jo mama na aka wo enya ye Ghana fo jo mama no ni vote ye ba ko pe ti mam fo 36 million ne say wo ye pese wo ko a wo be ko hwe wo dia wo ja asam ne ka se se ba bia wo la vo na duro no anya wo na okasa ma ho se na se John Dramani mama Ghana fo ye pese wo ti ase se wo kasa ma ho eko wase nyina ndo ase wo say African chair no ya fa ma wo AU chair ya fa ma wo 2027 na Ghana wo ye dia no ye nya ma wo nko ye sa ma wo nko na asamba bebre ya no fo we mambo fo we ye tumi ta mo sa me fa o ma we bim ko tell the akofo for kwa ye be mo akọ the power belongs to the people the masses o me tumi ni ye o mo dia constitution ni pa na twere ye sesa ni mani yi enya bible enya holy Quran sa bible do sesa hwe mo yi constitution no be say entisa bible ye amendment bia wo ma enya yi ba constitution we di ni pa na twere yitimi sesa no mani yi no enya say wo na obe sha amanfo no so pese odi wo mo so matima amfo na kasa so say wunyu afrododo joma mai wunyu afrododo etia ma wo kotra fie pese o san to aso yes sani ebe yo ma melody na ehia wa wie sani ebe Mugabe ne bejina MP eni mitiri musisi a NDC no call ene ba meko for now nka me call NDC nka hwenkyere me yes ba be bia jina sisi a ne de wo mo kwatum no se bo mo no mo so sebi ba de na kama kuma say NDC no se me ka kyere mo se mo grassroots no mame bronyai empanifo bia wo ma hwe wo mo kwa yam visit wo mo families Adikuka Ambassador Sampiyale Alhaji Sani Senior Kumasi Dr. Samuel Sapon Kumasi yeko sebusuafo no o mane bo ama ne yere ne ma waje o ma kire ensra o mo brenya eni o munni na nyefe se obanya safo yebo ne be enka na sam de anjes ne soma me se me meka no makan wie yes ne de me kanso ano maka de Mugabe aka no e de nyame pe na baba be ka no me nya de bia to say selfish me kama me ho no ba ni asoba for the 900 million angels yo ma bia mani se Mugabe ka kire o man kasa kire o man Ghana no ne kasa kire o man Ghana me se o man bo ama ne yere ne mabro nya ye no mu ni ye no man kra ne nye ma kasa kire mo sure Jomama woni size wa Africa woni size our Africa akufo do baye ECOWAS wana na de e bibi decisions anya papa nko a Jomama oso ono de onko tetem yeda ase sanya wona ope wo de wo so wonko ba se wo ye na wudi so wo serve ye ye na wo som ye no ye mre ye se ye pe wa wo beko kotobe ku ba ya kufa do NPP fu mambofo wi hia kai mo ye toiletu anka me wo metwi meto we mo hia kai eni so mo ba power oh iti na wase we kura power ni mu yi eni se mo be power wani be hu ke na ba wo na esi ho umni doni tema de mani pa be gu ni pa nyuma ama titifo ma bobra edo pempesuo bi no ya ma omu nyina no ma ba beda fam kama pe wu ya no ko titifo mu gu mu nyuma se omu nyuma Dr. Bakwesi ndo mu mimi kasa da bia no se Ghana ni ya adwuma no tumi fa nipa ba ko mienu miensa san nipa no ye bo omo ikrokro mu ye ene hwe heba fui kakran obedu anu afa nurses no afa doctors bibire no mu nyina ye adwuma Bible ni se fa no bra na haba no ya dan ensa yare